Greetings, this is the first in a series of instructional videos on using Smart Notebook software to create multimedia presentations for use with the smartboard. This presentation will focus on text, entering text, using text within a Smart Notebook presentation. Instructionally speaking, it's probably going to be useful to you to open a blank notebook file and kind of do the things that I'm doing as I do them in that blank notebook file. That way you'll get a chance to practice entering text and modifying text as we go through this this presentation. The ability to pause the video obviously will make that a little bit easier as we continue through. The topics we're going to discuss today are the text tool, using the text tool, not using the text tool, cloning, copying and pasting, making modifications, and special characters. But for text entry, it's important to note that we're not going to be at the smartboard setting up our Smart Notebook file. So we're not going to use the floating keyboard, and you can see this is an image of the floating keyboard. We're not going to use that floating keyboard to create the text within our Smart Notebook file. We'll create that text at our seats using the traditional keyboard. So without any further delay, I'm going to go ahead and open a blank Smart Notebook file. And here's my blank Smart Notebook file. The first thing we're going to talk about is the text tool. If your toolbar has been set up the way my toolbar is set up, based on the toolbar setup video that preceded this one, you'll notice that the text tool appears in the lower right-hand corner of my screen. It's the capital letter A with the red underline. If I hover my mouse above it, you can see the word text appears there. To use this this tool, I'm going to click on it. And once I click on it, you can see I have a number of different text variations I can enter. By clicking on one of these, I'll get a text tool that will enter a text box using that text variety. I can modify this toolbar to include specific kinds of text that I might use frequently. I don't do that because, again, I don't use the text tool to enter text, and I'll talk about why that is and what I do in a few minutes. First, we'll use the text tool. So I selected a text variety. I'm going to click into the screen. I automatically get a text box, and then I can start typing. I can type whatever text I need to type into this this window. The reason I don't use this text tool is because the text tool, whatever tool you use in this window, specifically the text tool right now, remains the tool that you have. So if I click out of that and click again to move something around, I can't move something around. I get another text window. And that's kind of annoying to me because typically when I'm setting up a Smart Notebook file, I won't type in one text box and then create another text box and another text box and another. What I'll typically do is type some text, then move something around and resize something and insert an image or whatever else. So what I do instead of using the text tool is I keep my select tool, which is just the general the arrow tool. If I keep that select tool as the tool that I'm using, I can click anywhere on the screen and type again, and automatically the text appears in a text window for me. So this to me is a better tool because if I click off now, I still have my selection arrow. Now I can move things, I can resize things, I can do whatever it is that I need to do, and I haven't lost the functionality of that selection tool. So that's what I do instead of using the text tool. I'll just use the selection tool, click somewhere, and start typing. When I do that, the type variety that I get will automatically be the type variety that was last used with the text tool, and if none have been used with the text tool, it'll be whatever text variety appears in the leftmost position on the text tool pull-up window. So again, just that's information you might find useful or not. Once I've got my text on the page, obviously I'm clicking and holding. If I click and hold the left button down, I can move that text around. If I click singularly, I'll get an image selection window around my text, and that basically says, well, Smartboard's treating this as an image, so I can do whatever I would do with an image to this text window at this point. If I want to click back into my text to be able to modify it, I'm going to need to double click, and double clicking again pulls back that text window and allows me to re-enter or modify my text in whatever way I want to. So once I have my text on my page and I've entered it in, what I do again is not use that text tool and choose a text variety I want, but I'll type some text, then select the text, and using the font tools that are pretty familiar or pretty similar to text tools I would find in other programs, I'll modify the text to set it up the way I want it. So I'm going to select Comic Sans, which my wife says is International Teacher font. And then I'll change the font size to make it larger. I can bold, I can italicize and underline, and again these buttons look just like they would look in Word or PowerPoint or some other programs. And change the color of the font. Green's my wife's favorite, so there we go. I can also change how the text appears within the window. I can center it, I can right a line, I can left a line, whatever I need to. I can also change the direction, make it horizontal or back to vertical. Excuse me, vertical or back to horizontal. I can add a bullets. And the next two buttons are to add subscripts. Say I wanted to enter the number 2, or let's make it something different since it says 2 over there. 7, and I want to make 7 into a subscript so that it's, you know, some scientific-y thing. You can see 7 appears sort of like a subscript. You can also make 7 into an exponent, right? Which again might be useful if you're teaching math. You can take that off. Again, select any of those buttons or deselect by clicking on it again, and now I've got just a 7. So again, subscripts, exponents, that's useful, again, for science and mathematical types of text. Additionally, after the subscript and exponent buttons is a special character button. If I click on that, I can see I have a number of different types of special characters that I can insert into my my text window. So again, a lot of different types of characters here. And again, most of them mathematical or scientific in their origins, but there are also some Latin characters, which has a lot to do with math and science. At any rate, to insert a special character, I'll click on the special character menu that I want, and then what I'm going to do is choose the character, and then what I'll do is give a nice long click. I've had experience double clicking, that doesn't always work. Single clicking doesn't always work, but what does work is if you give a nice long click. So I'm going to like click and hold on this button and then let go, and nothing happened. That's nice, right? So nice long click, and you get the character that you wanted. And again, that's basically what we would do there. So we've got our normal text tools. We've got the ability to modify in that way, and those special characters can be inserted as well. So what I'll do when I'm setting up a Smart Notebook file is I'll type one text box or one text window. And then if I need to enter more text, what I'll do is I'll take this text window and I'll click on the corner icon, the upper right-hand corner. There's a corner icon. And I can use that to either clone, and that gives me another text box. And now once I've cloned, I want to keep the same text type, so I'll just select the type, the text here, and just, I can't talk and type at the same time, type something else. So again, this is how I would set up text within my my presentation. I wouldn't use the text tool. I'd just create one, modify it the way I wanted to, and then clone it, or I could copy and paste also. Cloning is nice because it saves an extra click. If I hit copy and then hit paste, now I've had to click twice, whereas with cloning I can just click clone and I've got it. It's there. Additionally, once I've cloned something, I can change obviously what it says, but I can also change how it appears. And one thing that might be useful for specifically for language arts is if I needed to do a sentence diagram or something, I can take a chunk of text and then drag it out, and you can see that gives me a new text window with just that text in it. So if I wanted to make a sentence diagram, I could type a sentence and then drag each of the letters, each of the words from that sentence out, and then I have, each word in an as an individual movable item. So again, that could be useful for some purposes in language arts. Um, the other things you can do, obviously, are resize the text. So I'm going to take this text and instead of resizing by double-clicking, selecting, and changing the font size, I can also resize by grabbing the corner handle and just pulling to make it larger. One thing that's worth noting if you do modify text that way is if I click in and I want to drag this out, the drag out will be the size of the text that was originally entered in that text window, and that's because I resized a different way. So that's just something to be aware of. Maybe it's not a deal breaker, maybe it doesn't really matter to you, but it is something to be aware of if you're going to modify text in that way. So again, for me, if I'm entering text, what I'm going to do is click type, and then once I've typed in my text, I'll select it and modify it, set it up the way I want it. Once I've done that, I can clone the text, arrange it on the page however I'd like it, and then do the same kind of thing for subsequent pages to set those up. So it's text entry, text modification in short, and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.